Today, I will try to give you the biggest alpha I can possibly give you because the crypto market is very likely to skyrocket next year. And you have to be positioned before that happens. Now, there are a couple of hot narratives you can take a look at, but one narrative stands out to me by far. And I want to make a tier list for these kind of coins to get the best position for the next bull market. So let's get right into that. In the meantime, like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on, and let's take a look at the market right now. First, Bitcoin. It's important to notice, right? Like a lot of people, I can see it, but a lot of people, they skip this kind of stuff. But if you don't know what's up with the market, then waiting on your altcoins is going to be super painful, right? Because Bitcoin is not breaking out yet. And once Bitcoin is breaking out, you will see that altcoins probably go with it very soon. But in the meantime, it's not that altcoins are suddenly going to outperform Bitcoin. You can see that the Bitcoin dominance is in a massive uptrend, aka altcoins are actually only holding up because Bitcoin is up. But if it wasn't for Bitcoin, altcoins would have sat at the trash can. And some really are already still. So we need a good Bitcoin run. Now, Bitcoin tried to break out. It didn't work yet. But in my opinion, before the end of November, we will see new all-time highs. We have the election coming up in 2 weeks. Rate cuts are happening, QE is around the corner, and it's just super cyclical for Bitcoin to break out in Q4 of the halving year. And especially the post-halving year is where, altcoins go with it. So, yeah, times are going to be great, in my opinion. And now is really the time where people are kind of giving up, actually. They feel that altcoins won't do it anymore. They see some meme coins here and there outperform, and they don't look at the other 50 million meme coins, and therefore they feel that meme coins are the ones to be in. While in fact, I said this before, and I don't want to sound arrogant or anything, but crypto is on easy mode right now because the writings are on the wall that next year is going to be fantastic. Now all you have to do is buy the low prices. And yeah, if you look at the altcoin market, this is far from like the previous all-time high. Bitcoin is basically sitting at that level, and altcoins are still 120% away, so they have a lot of catching up to do. Now, the niches that I think are the best for this cycle, like I said before, gaming, AI, and Launchpads. I already made a gaming watch list, a tier list, and in this video, I would like to make a Launchpad tier list because this is important. In a market where altcoins are up, people have money and they like to speculate on new coins. Plus, the new coins that are hitting the market, they do well, right? We have seen it here already. And this wasn't peak euphoria at all, right? In the last bull run, especially peak bull, we had projects like Blocktopia doing a 600x, not even from private sale, but public sale, right? And although you got the tokens vested during the bear market, even if you sold at a 300x with 10% TGE on luck, it means you could have made an easy 30x on TGE already. That's peak bull, right? Now, if you are like, we are kind of here, in my opinion. We just broke out of the downtrend for Bitcoin at least, so we're somewhere here. If you invested in new projects back here and you got your tokens vested during the bull, one, you got a lot of money with the vestings, but two, also you would have had a higher allocation because not a lot of people, they believe at this point. Same as not a lot of people believe over here, right? They feel like altcoins are dead and new launches are not working anymore, etc., etc. And therefore your allocation is higher. And if you get a few of these winners, which you will, then you will make a lot of money in this leg up. And therefore I feel that this, for the rest of this year at least, is the golden moment to buy into new projects. It could not be a better time, right? If projects do their TGE right now, that's usually a problem. But if you invest now and the TGE, once the market goes up and you get your tokens vested while the market is running, that's the golden position to be at. So let's take a look at the best launchpads to make good returns on these Launchpad tokens, but also the Launchpad themselves, right? If you hold these tokens, you might as well participate in these launches. What's up with their tokenomics? What's up with the team, with the launches that they had, with the refund policy that they have? Most people only look at how much allocation do I get? I get a higher allocation there, so that Launchpad is better. Yeah, but what if that team doesn't deliver? What if all their launches fail? Then a high allocation is not important, right? What if they don't have a good refund policy? What if they are not innovative? We need to look at these things. So let's take a look at these things. Now, I didn't include all the Launchpads, okay? Because there are just simply too many. But I used the most known, a couple of new ones, interesting ones at least, some bad ones maybe. So we got 21 different Launchpads right here. The real like low caps, like there are some low caps here by the way, definitely. But the ones that are like just dying off, I felt like, man, maybe we should skip them in the first place. So we got a couple of interesting Launchpads right here. And I want to rank them from top tier, no-brainer Launchpads, to very good to hold, to good to hold, to not really sure, and skip. Okay? And again, this is not only based on allocation, this is based on basically everything you should consider when you go into a Launchpad or not. First one is BRCStarter, and you may have not heard of them. They are pretty new, actually. BRCStarter, they started out in March this year. So they had a pretty unlucky timing, of course, that they can't help, right? They released basically right on top at this market cycle peak, mid-cycle peak so far. Yeah, then you see the results, right? You have a new project, which is speculative already. You have a lot of vesting, a lot of token unlocks, plus a market that just goes down. So they had a little hype at the beginning. They went to 115 and they kind of bled all the way to 7 cents. So, you know, where a lot of projects, they went down 4 or 5x. This thing went down like 15x, if not more. Yeah, and that's just a combination of some bad factors, including some bad luck in the first place. Now, BRCStarter is, they released because we had that BRC20 hype, and then we also need a Launchpad, of course, right? And I think it's very smart to go with that hype, but then again, it was a pretty much like short-lived hype, actually. And if it will come back, I don't really know. I can see it happen, but it might take a while. Like the BRC20 narrative is kind of hard to use still. People don't really know about ordinals and rooms, etc. And it's just a little hard, and crypto is already complicated enough. Now, if you look at their launches, I mean, look, they have MetaXseed. Like that I like. MetaXseed is one project that I really support. I think that will do very well, actually. So that's great. They have some projects coming up that I'm not familiar about. If you look at what they released, Rebel Boot Studio, Zimma Bank, Quantelica wasn't that great. They had Orbital 7 wasn't that great. Next Gamey, like they have some strategic rounds as well. They had Newlink. They also unfortunately had some scams like Sugar Kingdom, Orange DX Private. That was a pretty good one. So it's kind of under the radar, this Launchpad, but their launches are, I don't know, they have quite some launches, and it's not that it's all bad or anything. They have quite some launches that were actually pretty well, considering the market conditions as well. So that's looking pretty good, actually. Their tier system is pretty linear. I like that. You have to stake at least 100 tokens, and then you can just add to your stake to get a high allocation, and that goes with every token. So it's not in these big steps. Yeah, 100 tokens is $7, right? So the entry is super low. I am not familiar personally with their allocation, but there is a page right here that shows how it works, and it's a long story actually, so it's quite complicated. But it's really easy to get started. It's not that you need 10,000 tokens to start with or anything, so they are very accessible. So I like that, actually. And a big plus is their refund policy. It's super straightforward. Once the TGE takes place, you can choose to claim your tokens, or you don't claim your tokens and you go for a refund. You have 24 hours for that. And in some specific cases, you could have more than 24 hours. So refund is there. So, you know, this is like pretty low risk investing actually with such a refund policy. So I really like that. About the token itself, it's a $1.6 million market cap. So that's really low, and that's fully diluted, right? If you look at the circulating market cap, that's according to CryptoRank, it's 123K. I'm not even sure if that's correct, but if that's the case, then that's crazy. Then I should not even talk about this too much because this is just way too low cap. But BRCStarter, considering the fact that they're new, that they had a bad start, and that they are so micro cap, I would say it is very high risk, but yeah, it kind of looks on point, and the reward is also quite high actually. So I would say it's not a no-brainer, therefore it's too high risk for me yet. But they just simply need time for that. But it's, I think, a very good hold, actually, if you are willing to take some risk. Next up, we have Octavia. And Octavia is also maybe a Launchpad, which is less known because it's not like that this is really old or anything. Octavia released not too long ago. And they basically had the same kind of start as BRCStarter. They released right before the big crash. They had a good run up all the way to 250, 230 actually. But they're now at 4 cents. So the price completely fell off. And again, that also has to do with token vesting, because if you look at the market cap, it went from 20 million to 2 million. Like, this is down 8x, right? While the price is down way more. So that's just a very bad example of tokens hitting the market. Luckily, it happened pretty fast because you can see that the market cap and the fully diluted are now pretty much the same, actually. Well, way closer to each other. Let me put it in English, actually. It's always in Dutch. Octavia, they released as an AI assistant, actually. Octavia AI was the initial project in the AI hype, and they have pretty good backings. They have a good team. They deliver. It's interesting. I like the ideas, but this still needs time to really prove itself. And like a lot of projects do, they put a launchpad to it. Like, this is one of these newer projects, AI projects especially, that came up with a launchpad. I do feel there are way too many launchpads nowadays, and it's harder to choose because there will be big winners. There will be huge winners, actually. This will be one of the biggest sectors, in my opinion, for this bull market, but only if you pick the right ones. And there will be a lot of launchpads that just simply don't deliver. There's too much competition, and they will get left behind. So therefore, I do like to make this tier list, actually, to give you a little bit about my opinion. But they have their launchpad like right here, all done with Decubate. They do it for ChainGPT, AiTech, all of them. And if you look, they have no real track record yet, right? They had Orbital 7, Midle, and Bitrevels. And that's it, right? So they have some things coming up, Pinomo, whatever that is, and Quantelica. That's a little weird because this launch should have already happened and they have it at coming soon. So the UI, it's not really up to date yet. And I am still in the camp like, okay, is this just something that you try and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't? Or are you really going for it? So that's weird. Also, I mean, they have the name right here, and here it says join the community to guess who. Well, you have the name right here, right? So they don't have it on point. It seems like there's no effort in this. They don't really try. And that makes me very skeptical about this project as a launchpad. Let's take a look at the tier list. So you have the Emerald Elite. You need 100 and wait. That's 15,000 fiat tokens. 15,000 is currently $700. You have the highest tier. You can have triple Emerald, I think, by having 45,000 of these tokens. So it's not that expensive. But again, as you see, the product isn't really there yet as well. So it should not be expensive. I feel like this is really, really, really high risk at this point. And most people will look at this like, wow, look where the price came from. But then again, that's purely because of token inflation. And if you look at the market cap, yeah, it's down 10x. It's like, I'm not convinced about this one actually. And yeah, we can take a look at the refund policy if we can find that. That's a little harder. One of the mods, so team member said earlier, refund policies are specific to each sale, and details about refund will be announced for each sale if there will be any. So they don't have a refund policy. It's just per sale. It's different. This is not my Launchpad for sure, and I wouldn't say skip, but I'm like not really sure about this one. Next, we have Decubate. Now, what I love so much about Decubate is, again, if you look at Octavia, this has been made by Decubate. Decubate is not just a Launchpad; they also are service providers for these projects, and that makes sure that Decubate as a company has a good income stream, and that's, as an investor, also safe to know. Decubate is interesting. It had a run from a market cap of like, well, it was 100K actually, $100,000, even lower at some point, all the way to 19 million. This had an insane run, and it's now 30 million. It's still not that high cap, but yeah, the big potential that it had, that's gone, of course. It's not going to do a whatever, how many X that was. But it shows like, wow, people were sleeping on it and they woke up. That's just simply what it is. I love Decubate for their originality. They have learned to earn, so that's really cool. You can actually get into projects without investing, and you can get some allocation anyway. They are very clear how much participants, what the all-time high ROI is, etc., etc., etc. So I like that. They are also, you have free tiers right here, so you can get in, and I talked about this before. If you skip this, then you're missing out on free money, basically. So I like that that it's so accessible. The UI is great. You can very clearly see what you invested in. The platform is really good. I think basically every project in here can learn from Decubate when it comes to that. It's super clear. I love it. What I dislike, I don't know, a little con here is that the allocations are not that high. So if you are looking for a $5,000 allocation with a $2,000 investment, yeah, that's not gonna work, but that also has its downsides. Decubate, on average, with a good high tier, you get like $200, $300 allocation or whatsoever. But then again, they do release real good projects. So I'd rather have a $200 allocation on a project that does 5x than a 5,000 allocation on a project that does nothing. So Decubate, great Launchpad. Allocation is not that high. Market cap already very high compared to where it came from. It has showed the strength though, super innovative. I would say this is very good to hold, and clearly, above BRCStarter, because that's like still new. Decubate is better at any way, actually. Then we have a project with a new logo, so I was a little confused, but this is Polkastarter. Polkastarter is a Launchpad which was pretty popular actually in the last bull market. It did fantastic. This polka dot, that's something different, of course. What I don't like about Polkastarter is that in the bear market, they were like super quiet. And I get that in the bear market, most projects fail anyway. But then again, if you look at Seedify, they kept on releasing. And with a refund policy, what does it matter, right? Like, you also had some winners. And we can take a look at Polkastarter as a launchpad actually right here. Here we go. So you can see the last IDOs right here. And they started a bit again this year, right? But 2023, there was nothing, as you can see. But this year, they had AiTech Games, Translation Games, Arrow Markets, Cookie Tree, and AI. And yeah, it's like every one of these projects, like loss, big loss, barely profit, loss, and loss, right? So, yeah. But that's what all the lunches look like nowadays. It's just not the market for it. Then again, if you look at the all-time high ROI, you could have got something out of it, right? If you were fast enough. So that's fine. They are active-ish again. They do a lot of DeFi, quite some gaming as well. I like that, to spread out the different niches that you are releasing. Yeah, when it comes to market cap, man, I mean, if you look back in the last bull market, it went all the way to, what was it, 350 million or something like that. They're now at 27. Fully diluted, same. That's good. I must say that this definitely has some room to grow. You can see that even in this little run-up right here, they went to 120. So that's almost a 5x from this point. Well, it's a 5x from this point, actually. So this is a pretty good play, in my opinion. This is a really good play. Why I didn't like Polkastarter in the past is that you had to, before you want to participate in a project, you had to do some quizzes, right? And I get it that it's better for everybody that you have investors that know a little bit about the project that they invest in. Then again, you do make it harder on the participants, and there is enough competition. So if that's wise, I don't want to do quizzes and things. Then I feel like, man, I'm gonna just go to another launchpad. I think that's holding off potential new investors, actually. And it's a little different with this one as well. If you hold less tokens, then there is a lower chance that you can participate in the next sale. Is that a good or a bad thing? I don't know. It's at least original, and I kind of like that. You have to have 50 pulse power to get the highest there. And it's a little unclear right here. Like, that's what I don't like about some projects. You know, check pulse power, but it doesn't explain on this page what pulse power is. I think it was just one token is one pulse power. But I'm not completely sure, actually, and it's just annoying that I can't find it here. But if that's the case, then the highest there is $12,500, and you feel like, wow, that's so high compared to the $700 kind of... Look, Launchpad's supposed to be a privilege, right? It's not supposed to be cheap. If it's cheap, everybody can get in. If everybody can get in, then everybody participates in the pre-sale, and nobody will buy that token on the open market once it comes out. So nobody will pump it for you as well. So what's the point of participating then, right? So sometimes you see something as a downside while it's actually an upside, right? So yeah, it's not expensive at all. They have a good refund policy. So Polkastarter, actually, it's a pretty good hold. And I would put it above Decubate in this case, but that's because I think that Polkastarter is just pretty undervalued at the moment. And they are even lower cap than Decubate at the moment. Next, we have AiTech. AiTech is a pretty popular project. Came out, was released by Seedify, I think, Enjinstarter, ChainGPT. Did fantastic, the ones that were in the pre-sale. Congrats, I did fantastic as well. A lot of other people did. AiTech is basically just an AI tool provider in first instance. And it was like super popular because of that. And at a certain point, just like Octavia, they created a Launchpad. And I don't know really why, to be honest. I mean, it's not like that the Launchpad is bad or anything. And they have pretty interesting projects. Script, Aether, Octavia, DChat, Planar Finance, Legends of Elysium, Storyfire, Verida, GPT 360 coming, Interswap coming. So not bad, not bad. What I just don't like about AiTech is that the allocation is really, really, really low. With Web3 Whales, my project, we hold a lot of AiTech, and I feel like, well, we get like $200 allocation for a project, while we hold like 50K worth of these tokens or so. So it's so expensive. And as a Launchpad, I think it's just simply not worth it once allocations are so low. That has to do, though, with the fact that the price is really high, right? So the people that were in here, congrats, right? But if you look, like, it went to a 200 million plus market cap. Yeah, that's, of course, like, that's crazy, right? That's crazy. So unless AiTech really goes down to like $20 million market cap or so, which I don't think will happen, then I think getting these tokens is not really worth it compared to other launchpads, or they have to do something about the tier system. Like I said, it's not bad if you are expensive for the tiers, but this is a little too much for me, actually. Staking, yeah. Let's see what we can find out about the tiers, actually. So here we have the tiers. You need 200,000 points for the highest tier. That's 100,000 tokens, I think. 100, 1, 2, 3 is at the moment $9,000, and you can get a double or triple tier like that as well. So, but again, that's not that expensive necessarily, but you just don't get a lot of allocation for it. So I don't really know if I like that too much. They have a decent refund policy, so that's fine. As a Launchpad, I'm not convinced. So I would put it below Octavia. Don't get me wrong, I think AiTech is better than Octavia as a project, but as a Launchpad, I think Octavia has just more upside. Also more risk, though. But that's how I would look at it. Next one, I was like, should I talk about this or not? But I'm doing it anyway. Is Web3 Whales. Now, this is my project. For the newer people that might wonder, like, what is that? We are basically a Launchpad index. Sorry, I had to come up with the right word. But what we do is we are a group of investors. If you hold the Web3 Whale token and you stake it, you are as well. And we together use the money that's in the pot to invest in new launches. But we do it with more money, right? So that's the thing. If you are in Seedify, for example, on your own, and you want to get a higher allocation, then you have to pay a lot more. Right? But we do it together, so we can get high allocations, and then you can simply stake Web3 Whales tokens, and based on the amount that you stake, you get the returns for the projects that we invested in. So, for example, we invested in AiTech early. We made maybe, I don't know, 50K with it or something, and based on the amount of Web3 Whales that you stake, you just simply claim the share in USDT of the project, in this case AiTech. We also use that money to burn the token, so the token will be more scarce, etc. Yeah, and if you look at Web3 Whales on CoinGecko, you can find it right here. I have to update it, though. Also have to update it on CoinMarketCap because we rebranded. So the wrong website is here. Contract address is the right one, though. So... yeah, we are super low cap at the moment with a $1.3 million market cap. Now, the cool thing is, though, that if you look at our D-app, you can see, that's really interesting, that 73 million tokens are currently staked, while we have 96 million, like, in circulation. Right, the rest is burned, and we keep on burning. So our token is currently super deflationary. And we invested in quite some projects, actually. If you go look right here, you can see that we invested in some pretty solid projects. But if you look at the documentation, you can find it all. And you find right here the projects that we invested in. For example, we invested in MetaXceed. You can see $25,000 seed investment, right? So that wasn't through a Launchpad, it was through MetaXceed themselves. And that makes the vesting a little longer, but we get a lower entry, right? And that's one. But we also, for example, invested in, we have it, Portal, right? And that's cool. We invested 30K in Portal, but it was a seed investment, was 4.5 cents, right? Portal is now sitting at 33 cents or so. So that's a 7x. On this amount, that's nice. And it's now getting vested. So if you now hold the Web3 Whales token, you now get a share of that money once we are in profit. So it's basically, if you feel like I like Launchpads, then, but you don't want to, or you cannot, you live in a country where you cannot access them, or you don't want to keep track of all these launches, etc. You can also just simply hold Web3 Whales and we kind of do it for you, right? And you can just claim your share whenever you want. The only downside is that you don't get to choose when you sell the token. So for example, if we invested in Octavia, in AiTech, and the token went to 10 cents, and we decided to sell there, right? And after that it goes to 15 cents, you as an investor feel like you should have sold higher. We just DCA out, right? That's the smartest thing to do. But you don't have to do anything. And yeah, sorry, but of course I'm biased. But I cannot put it somewhere else than top tier no-brainers. We have like so much projects that we have invested in that are yet to come out. And I feel like with the bull market around the corner, there's just a lot of money flowing into Web3 Whales. And with the tiny market cap that we have, I feel like this is obvious. Like this is going to be a huge success. Plus I'm running it myself, so I'm controlling it, right? Sorry to put it there, but I cannot do it anything else. Then we have Poolz Finance. Poolz Finance is, I just looked at it and I was like, okay, it's getting interesting. Pool X, by the way, because it is getting quite low cap. Everything is basically in circulation. I like that. If you look, it's 92%. If you look at the market cap, yeah, it's interesting. It was sitting at like 9-10 million for a while, and it held it right here, but it's now breaking it. So from a TA perspective, I feel like, okay, with Poolz, let's wait a little bit to see how low the price can really go. It's now 140. Maybe this will be the bottom. Maybe it will go to $1. Maybe it go to 30 cents. I don't know. Right, but it's now in price discovery to the downside, so I will be a little careful buying it right now because it is a falling knife. Then again, if you feel like, I want to have some position now it's low, hey, it's a better time than ever. I like Poolz, actually. They have 81% of the tokens staked and locked, so that's bullish, right? For the sell pressure that won't be there. They have good projects always. They have. I love the project. They have MetaXceed, Yield Bricks, Earnum. I see Earnum a lot. They have a lot of interesting projects coming up. You have a crazy IDO guide right here. Ugly dude, by the way. Doesn't matter. I love. I could done that for them, and I love it. Their dashboard, it's super clear what you invested in. Poolz is underrated, man, in my opinion. It's underrated. They have a good team. I was pretty close with the team, actually. I haven't heard from them for a while now. I don't know. But I mean, everybody's busy in this crazy space right now. But I do know that the team is very involved with their community and everybody around them. So big shout out for that. They have a very good refund policy. You can just click your refund and get your refund. So they were very innovative when it comes to that. It is like, look, they are expensive though, right? You have to have 20,000 Poolz tokens to get in their governance there. And then you get a lot of extras, private sales. That's a lot. And high allocation. But 20,000 tokens, yeah, it's 30K what you pay for it. Then again, yeah, that's because I just now compare it to all the other launchpads that are so cheap and high risk. With Poolz, I do feel like I'd rather spend 30K on Poolz than 10K on AiTech. So Poolz is, for a launchpad, it's pretty close to Polkastarter actually. But it's a little less high risk actually. So I would say it's either a no-brainer. Yeah, no, yeah, Poolz is a no-brainer. Actually, yeah. Then we have Sidus. Sidus is also same as AiTech, like that kind of stuff, right? Also made by Decubate. Sidus was had a good run up in this stage of the market where altcoins performed well. And the alt chart, you can't really see it that well, but as you can see right here, what happened? They went from, yeah, I can better take market cap actually. If you look at this, they had a run up from like 8 million to 150 million, 20x, crazy. In that time, they also released a Launchpad. But their Launchpad is not original or anything. I think it should be here somewhere. Where can I find the Launchpad, guys? It's on the front page, Sidus pad. So you have it. Also by Decubate. And hey, I like their platform. It's a good overview. So yeah, of course, if it works, it works. They have interesting projects. They had Farida, at Engines of Fury. They were one of the few that had them. Unfortunately, it didn't really work out, but there was a good anticipation. They now have Memes Lab, which I think could be pretty interesting, actually. The allocations are not like that high. You get the highest tier if you have 2 million Sidus staked, and 2 million is currently $8,000 worth of Sidus tokens. So the highest tier is not that expensive, actually. I think you get an allocation of $400-500, something like that. I'm not really sure, actually. It also kind of depends, of course, right? Like how many people participate, how much do they raise. They also have the private sales for the people that stake more. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I think that with the run-up that they had and the $40 million market cap already, the big upside has been done. I mean, if you look at this market cap, then it absolutely flew. If it gets back to like 25 million for some reason, could be possible, then that's like where I would say, okay, time to go heavy. I think it's good to hold. And again, don't get me wrong, I think Sidus is better than BRCStarter, for example. But BRCStarter has some high risk elements that also bring high reward that Sidus pad doesn't have. Sidus has more certainty for steady growth. Yeah, it's good to hold. Next up, there's Gamestarter. Gamestarter is I just like gaming is gonna be big, Launchpad's gonna be big, and they have it in the name. I think it's smart, actually. But Gamestarter, let me tell you this, it is really high risk though, because it's super low cap. They're not really out there, actually. They are not in the conversation, if you know what I mean. People talk about the best Launchpads. Gamestarter is not really there. So I don't know actually why. I think they just need better lunches. And yeah, if you look, it's a $1.5 million market cap, so it is super micro cap, of course. If you look at the chart right here, you can see that the problem is that they have 100K in liquidity. I mean, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but my own project has more than that. And this is really a Launchpad, an official Launchpad, right? So I do feel like if you want to be there with the top tiers, start adding liquidity like top tier. So this is kind of dangerous, right? Because there may be a lot of whales in the project that if the price goes up, they can just dump it. So there's too much price manipulation with Gamestarter. It could work in your benefit since it's extra volatile, but I also do feel like you can get dumped on pretty easy with this one. So I am not really sure about that. Again, high risk, but if you look for the last 3 months, it's been being sold off, right? And I don't know what's up with that. To be honest, maybe it's these whales. Could be. But for now, it just shows like, hey, it's not a good idea to buy this, at least not at this moment. Let's see how far this could be sold off and if it's still alive by then. And then let's take a look what's left. If you look at their launches that are coming up, they have some things that I feel like, never really heard of it. Actually, Monkey League, for example, not really sure. Yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. Maybe could be good. Don't know about that. If you look at the launches that they had, I don't know, they had some projects that were like, okay, IconX was a big one, was a good one, actually. There was a good one. Web3 Whales did well. Project Hive scammed, I think. Or was it Hive? Yeah, I think so. Not sure. Prism was a nice one. So they had some good launches, actually. So, yeah. It's a tricky one. The allocations are quite high, actually. Don't know exactly from the top of my head, but you can get a couple $1,000 allocation for not too much. So high risk, high reward, man. And I would say this is good to hold, but in the back of it, purely based on the fact that the last couple of months, it just simply looks like they are dying off slowly. And that makes it super high risk. Yeah, next is Spintop. Spintop is it was from last cycle, and they kind of died off until they released another project not too long ago, and maybe even more, but I saw at least one. So I felt like, okay, they're still there, so they're doing something. And Spintop is originally more like a gaming Wikipedia where you can find all information about crypto games, etc. I never really understood the token use case though, but then they also came with a Launchpad. Now, if you look at price, like messed up. If you look at market cap, I don't know what it was before. Lately, they are really going down hard though. They're now sitting at a $1 million market cap. So again, like micro cap, high risk kind of stuff, right? The thing is that this was like really bad because they had a Launchpad, and they did like 4 or 5 launches last cycle or something like that. They had Creo Engine. I participated in that one in the last cycle, and all of a sudden it kind of popped. But then they didn't do anything. And then their comeback was Sugar Kingdom. And I spoke about this project before. It was a scam. Unfortunately, a lot of projects, a lot of Launchpads, they launched them anyway, and they scammed again. And yeah, that's kind of it. And then they have our games, not a success. Fishverse, Clash Hub. Nobody like hears about these projects. But now they're coming up with Kokadi, which is kind of like, wow, okay, big project. How did Spintop get them? So yeah, interesting. Let's see what we can find about the allocations. Okay, so what they say, you have to hold at least 15,000 Spintop tokens in order to be liable for the launches, and that's at the moment $50. That's the entry. So that is super low. Not completely sure what the allocations are going to be though. Total value locked is $800,000. So that's pretty decent out of the $2.3 million market cap. I would say dive into the community, ask the team about this one, because I'm in the middle between, okay, worth it to take a big high risk, or it's dead. So with Spintop, I'm not really sure, and I will put it all the way in the back. Then we have Gains Associates, and I don't want to talk about this too long because I spoke about this one in the gaming tier list as well. And overall, my conclusion was Gains Associates fucking under the radar, man. I love what they do. They have everything on point. They are so transparent. They have great projects. And the price chart is just way too low compared to what they do. So to just kind of wrap it up already, Gains Associates is just a very good hold, and I will put it at the top of that list, actually above Polkastarter and Decubate. These, Polkastarter and Decubate are more accomplished launchpads, but well, maybe not even. Gains is just like quality compared to how low everything is just really good. Then we have GameFi. GameFi is a launchpad that showed like, hey, once the market runs, this thing runs. Right, we had launchpads showing that, and GameFi was just a very good example of that. They were at the lows of 150, and they ran all the way up to $15. So they did an easy 10x right here. Now they went all the way back down to like $3, give or take. So they're kind of back at this level. Market cap wise, let's see if that's kind of the same, because eventually that's what matters. They went from 50 million to 150, and they're now back at 30. So if they go back down to this 15, give or take, then it's a screaming buy, in my opinion, purely based on price chart, actually. That's kind of all I'm basing it on for now. They also have Meta Exceed. Meta Exceed is kind of all over the place. So I wonder how good that is, actually, but okay, fine. Let's go check out their staking. So what you need to do is to get the highest tier, the second highest tier, a minimum of 1,200 tokens staked, and that's currently with this price $3,500. That's way better than the $15 per token that it used to be, of course. So that's a good thing. To get the legend tier, to get the highest, you need an auction NFT required. They hold auctions for the NFT monthly, and it will belong to 12 people that have the most staked. So it's always kind of a battle, like who's staking most. I kind of like that. Their allocations seem to be pretty good. They have a decent refund policy. It's not in my portfolio, but it should have been here. If it goes back down here, then definitely. For now, I think it's a good one to hold, actually. Maybe very good. I will put it above BRCStarter. Yeah. Next, we have Dexcheck. I spoke about it more and more. Dexcheck is just a really good project. It has a strong hype, good loyal community, super innovative team, low market cap at the moment. They had private sales. They started with that as a private ISPO launchpad. Yeah, it's private. Yeah. Dexcheck overall, in my opinion, really worth it. Especially with these prices. When it was sitting here, I would have said like, it's too high, too expensive to get in, but it was at a $50 million market cap. It's now not even 10. Now I feel like, hey, if you missed out on Dexcheck, here you go. Here you have a new chance. This is it. And you have to be a little more in their Telegram, turn the notification on, don't miss anything. It's still a little unorganized, actually. But if you are in, then you can get some pretty good things out of it. Let me see if we can. Yeah, we see it as a launchpad right here. What they had some decent projects. Friend 3 was a good one. Script was meh, but GT Protocol was a banger. Octavia at the all-time high, of course, crazy. DChat same. they did for sure not release the worst projects out there in this stage of the market, let alone when the full bull starts. And you can just see, end of last year, beginning this year, the market was doing okay. Remember? And look at these numbers, 14x, 9x, 7x, 36, 34, 8. Like, and the best part in the market is still about to come. Therefore, I'm talking about these launchpads right now. So I would say Dexcheck is very good to hold. And I would put it here. Yeah, I think that's it. Next one, kind of different. Nexus. This is a platform by Hasselpedia. And it's more than just, look, I mean, let me show you. They have a portfolio tracker. They have a whole game Wikipedia, kind of like Spintop tried to do. Well, Nexus did it. They have a lot of interesting tools right here. But what they also have is Nexus Pad. And if you are in their Discord, by holding a Nexus NFT or more NFTs, you could have had access to a lot of interesting projects. For example, I don't know where it is right now exactly, but they had Godzilla. For example, they had Portal. They had these are seed/private investments, right? It's really worth it. Allocations are high. The NFTs are now a little more cheap. Yeah, this is for me like the place to be. If you invest your money right here, you cannot refund it necessarily. But you have way better investments. You have great allocations. You are automatically part of a super great community as well. You have access to a platform like worth it. It's worth all my money. Definitely. And I think that Nexus, by holding such an NFT, is a no-brainer. Yeah, let's be fair. I mean, my project is my project, right? Web3, I cannot say like, but Nexus, they do stuff like really well. I have to put it on top. I have to step my game up. But yeah, they are on top, actually. I love what they're doing. So currently you can get an NFT for 0.24 ETH, which is what, $500, $500. You're already in, right? And if you hold more passes, you get a higher allocation. I think it's up to 20 passes. We, with Web3 Whales, hold these 20 passes because we just want the highest allocation. But even for people that feel like, okay, you know, I don't have thousands of dollars to spend, but I want to be part of something pretty interesting, it's accessible. So it's cheap. Yeah, that's something I wanted to mention extra with this. Yeah, next one. I had to put this at Launchpad as well. Neo Tokyo. Now, Neo Tokyo is by Alex Becker and Elliot Trades. And look, this is originally not as a Launchpad, but they community members, they also made a Launchpad right there. And they also have seed rounds for great projects. The thing is, though, that this is a lot more expensive. If you want to get a pass, there are still 2 for 15 ETH. It's going to be 100. So exclusivity, I don't know. It's high. But if you have the money and you feel like I want to be at a place in crypto where I am involved with everything around crypto gaming, then this is the place. The founders of every big project are there. Everybody is there. And that's worth something. So this is pretty elite. Now, you also, on top of your citizen, have to stake Bytes tokens to get higher allocations. And I think it's like 2,000 bytes or something like that to get the most out of it. That's currently 10K as well. So that's on top of your 15 ETH. So for the regular person that wants to look for a Launchpad, I would say skip. But that's as a Launchpad, right? Because it is not affordable. As a community and as a place to be somewhere, it's a no-brainer. So I don't know where to place it. I'm not going to place it in this case because it very much depends on how you look at it, actually. Next, we have DAO Maker. Well, let me put it in the middle in that case, by the way. I'm not going to put it here and then not list it, of course. Next we have DAO Maker. DAO Maker was one of the bigger launchpads out there. But I feel like they fell off. All right. I never hear DAO Maker in the Launchpad conversation. And if you look at the price chart, you can say whatever you want, but basically since the beginning, they go down, right? They have the high, the low high, the low high, low high. They have the low lows. It doesn't look good, right? Market cap, it is steady though. It's because they had token inflation. So when you look at it like that, you could be like, okay, 70, and here it was like 100, here it was like 120, it was like 70. So it is at the lows, it might be worth it. I think that DAO Maker is, I don't know, it never caught my attention. I'm not interested in it. It's not interesting enough for me, if you know what I mean. Now, let's take a look at DAO Maker as a launchpad. And look, you are in the launchpad for the returns, right, of these projects that you invest in. Well, if you look at that, then this year, right, look how much they released from this point. How many projects. But look at the ROI. 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Like, it's all bad. All bad. So with DAO Maker, yeah, it is obviously quantity above quality. I cannot really respect that, actually. It looks like they're just releasing in the hopes that they will have a big winner somewhere so they can brag about that. In reality, they release bad project after bad project. Yeah, that reflects a price chart then as well. So I don't need to look any further for this. I would say skip DAO Maker. And next up is Spartadex. Unfortunately, they are not listed as a launchpad right here, so I don't know how they need to do that. But Spartadex, please do that. But Spartadex, I talked this also in the gaming tier list video. And although Spartadex is high risk, high reward at the moment because purely of, market cap, I think that this is the sleeping giant that's under the radar. Spartadex has been innovative from the start in every single way, actually. They have a good overview. They're experimenting. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but most of the times it does. And at a certain point, it will all come together, in my opinion. They had a massive burn of $6 million or something, making the market cap equal to the fully diluted market cap. That shows the dedication to the project from the team. Team is accessible. I love Spartadex. Only downside that I haven't spoke about yet is that if you want to unstake your tokens, you have to wait 150 days or something like that, 100, to get them all. If that's really a downside, that's also making sure that the sell pressure takes off. And I'm not planning on selling these tokens anyway. So I don't even know if that's a downside. It's just different than other, and that's original. Maybe that's a plus. I don't even know. No, I just like to find reasons to complain about something with a project. But with Spartadex, I can actually not find really something. If you look at market cap, they went to 23 million. They are now at 4. Yeah, this is obvious. It's on Bybit. They have their own DEX, of course. It's on Maxi. It's accessible. They have a lot of interesting projects coming. So what it is basically, if you launch the app, it is basically a gamified DEX. To show you real quick, this is how it looks. Here you can build your own city, and I hope they are going to expand this more and more and more. And then they have their Launchpad as well. And they had some good sales, actually. They had some really good sales. They had Star Heroes was a good one. Poolz Finance, Eclipse, G-Swift was the first one. One of the first one. We all know GameSwift was exclusively here. Yeah, I think that this is one that you really should keep your eyes on. High allocations, real high allocations. Couple $1,000 actually. This is a no-brainer, actually. If you are willing to take some risk, then it's a no-brainer. And I will put it right before Poolz, actually. Next up, we have ChainGPT. Shout out. First thing I want to say, they did everything right from the start, and that just shows like how good a project can be. They came out at the right time of the market. Was that based on luck or strategy? I don't know. They came out. They had good returns on the pre-sale. I made some good money with it. Then they fell down, and then they had the real run up, and that's where they also came up with a Launchpad. And I remembered some people on Telegram said, "Well, they're gonna make a Launchpad as well. Haha, not gonna work." And eventually, they were one of the biggest. Also, that they did it right. They are innovative. They're moving fast. It's great. It's always exciting with ChainGPT. I really like what they do. Yeah, and I think this could be a big winner in this market. Allocations are decent. You have to hold quite some tokens, but then again, it's also because they had a high market cap. But if you look, they went all the way more than 200 million. Now they're sitting at 90. Yeah, if it comes back to these levels, it's a screaming buy. Nevertheless, I do think that ChainGPT is a no-brainer, and I will put it here because it's above Spartadex because I don't know. They just do everything right. And with ChainGPT, there is less potential upside than such a micro cap, but certainty is also worth something. Then we have Enjinstarter. Talked about that in the gaming tail list as well, so I'm not gonna make that too long. You get the highest allocation if you stake in the longest pool, 999 days. I think that's ridiculous. To be honest, who's gonna lock their tokens fully through the bear market? It's not smart. Give that option, but don't make your allocation depend on it, I think. If you look at market cap, they went to like 50 million, give or take. They're now at 5. It's because they don't really release lately, and the projects that they release are not that great. And that could mean that this is actually a great buying opportunity, actually. Because I do think that Enjinstarter will make a comeback. But also, if you look at the projects, same as DAO Maker, like that, what they released this year, they kind of released only bad projects, just bad shit only, right? And again, at the beginning of this year, it was fine when it comes to all-time high ROI, right? But that was because the market did well. All these launchpads released good projects back then, but none of them were sustainable. Even the ones that did a 15x are now sitting below pre-sale price. So that's the problem with these launchpads. They look at short-term gains. They be like, "Oh, project want to come to us. It has a 300k initial market cap, but a 15 million fully diluted. Doesn't matter. Fuck the long run. Like, let's look at the short term. Can we?" I kind of fucking hate that. I need something sustainable. The UI is a mess. I can't see what I participated in. Then again, I do feel like Enjinstarter is not that new high-risk launchpad. It's just an old launchpad that now has to find its way again. And once it does, which I think it will easily go up. They have some liquidity problems as well. There's not a lot of liquidity, also not on the Ethereum chain. I do hold it, but I wouldn't say it's very good to hold. It's good to hold, especially if you are in some high risk. Here. If you like some high risk, then it's good, because this could be a big one. But for now, there's too much downside still. Then we have Seedify. If you're like familiar with this channel, you know what I think about Seedify. Seedify is innovative. It's great. It's the blue chip launchpad. At the moment of recording the video, they're releasing Seed World today. I'm going to make some more content about that. I think that's going to be a big winner. Seedify, transparent, great projects, innovative. Yeah, to be honest, it's a little expensive. I'm not gonna lie, but again, you pay for quality. You pay for quality. The highest tier is 100,000 S fund, and that's $130,000 at the moment. But again, that's the highest tier. With the first come first serve, you get like maybe $10,000 allocation, and you can get that back with one project, really. So yeah, if you have the money, I would say it's worth it. Actually, Seedify is a must hold. This is such a no brainer, and I will put it all at the top here. Next, last, we have paid network. Paid network. I have a bag of tokens purely because of the price. I said months ago that if you look at the price chart, this is interesting. It was kind of stuck here. Wait, let me get the market cap. And 1 year. Yeah, look at this. It was kind of stuck here at 10 million or so, right? Is this correct what I'm saying? I have to go to price. God damn, sorry for that. Let me try that again. Price was kind of stuck here at 4.5 cents, 4 or 5 cents. Then it flew to 40 cents. Now it came back to this level. And I just feel like this is the level to get some. So I have a good bag of it. They are now on base. I think it's a good move. Base is a chain with a lot of potential. I'm not participating in their launches though. I don't like their UI. I don't like their staking. If you go to staking, no information about like anything actually. Only there's a 2% tax on both staking and unstaking. So that's weird as well. But it's not like, do we get some APY? How long is it? I don't see any information at all. So very unclear. As a Launchpad, do they have some good releases? I know Alex Becker loves to shill it because he got paid like 100 grand for it. But other than that, there are a lot of projects that haven't released yet. And other than that, like they basically don't release shit. Yeah, as a Launchpad, it's not really worth it actually. I will put it here. This would be it. This would be my, so if you're looking, look, and that's also nice, right? The top tier no-brainers doesn't only include Launchpads that are super low or high cap and low risk. It's a good mixture of a high cap, an NFT project, a micro cap, a AI/Launchpad, a gamified Dex Launchpad, right? Like these are all different and high, low. Really, I think that if you hold these and maybe some of these, that's all you need in this bull market to make it, in my opinion. So, long video, a lot of information. I hope it was valuable. Please smack the like button if you like it. Subscribe to the channel, turn the bell notification on, and I'll see you guys in the next one.